Well, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. The layout is quite a mess right now, but we have three Broadway Limited Big Boys to look at. I've got the American Freedom Train. I've got a DCC Stealth one that I'll be doing a separate video on, but we'll touch briefly on now. And I have a Broadway Limited fully Paragon 4 sound, factory sound, Big Boy number 4014 as well. Now these are the most recent additions. They've added some things to replicate what the current Big Boy looks like, so let's get started at the look at these right now. Now one other thing to keep in mind is we've done so many Big Boy reviews, even in Paragon 4, that we'll be skipping some key sections of testing, so be sure to check that out on the previous reviews. I'll have a link below. Alright, trying something a little different. I've got a turntable extender here. It's been cut out and I've just got to felt it if everything works okay. Big Boy comes in your regular new white Paragon 4 box, so that is a nice touch. For those of you who are always trying to track item numbers, because I usually show those at the beginning of the video, the American Freedom Train version, which we haven't seen yet, is 9508. Paragon 4 with sound, 9500, that's the factory sound. And 9520 for the DCC Ready version, which I've added ESU Loc sound to. So as I said, a little more extended turntable, so we'll zoom in and look at some details. Obviously, the DCC Ready and DCC and Sound version are going to have the same outward appearance, so we can cover all of that with one look here, and we'll just get zoomed in here on the front. There are some shadows being cast from those flying number boards and bell, but right under those areas there, in between the marker light and the bell, Big Boy is chalked onto the cab, obviously in a decal fashion, but represents the chalk that they added for Big Boy, which is nice because this version is all about what it appears to be today after some PTC upgrades and some of the other upgrades that were done to the locomotive. So that's the first thing you'll notice, and then we'll continue on here. We have the headlight, which is LED. There's a number plate on the front. It kind of sits on the pilot. Pilot rotates to help navigate curves, and it's really the first set of engines that rotate, and that's how you get that articulated look. When it's taking a curve, it almost looks like an O-scale engine, where this will swing out in real life on the real locomotive. So it's not as dramatic as some of the tighter O-scale turns, but it does happen in real life. So you have the piston heads here, which are silver. You got your pilot, which has a rotating dummy coupler, so you can either have just the pilot or the coupler. You just rotate that out. I think I'm just out of sight for you, but there you go. So you can see how that rotates out, and then you just push it along a little further to fully engage. So sometimes it's a little bit of a bear to mess with, so we won't mess with it here. On the side you have LED lit number boards, a golden metallic bell. The marker lights are also LED lit. Puffing smoke, smoking whistle. You can see the whistle back there. There's builder plate detail on this as well, along with running boards. Got all your side rod detail, eccentric crank. Your drivers, your two sets of 4 drivers. This is a 4884 locomotive configuration. So essentially each set of 4 wheels per side, so 8 wheels total, are a set of drivers and connected to a separate engine. You've got your safety pop-off valves. One big feature that they've updated in this that no other company has taken the time to replicate is the triple dynamo. So these dynamos have steam that generates through them that helps power different appliances and the car consist. So they needed 3 on the Big Boy for kind of more power for generating their own power without a power car, but they still use a power car for other applications as well, or to augment. You got your firebox here with nice rivet detail, plumbing, and your blowdown plumbing, which goes right there. The tender and the locomotive come out of the box connected, but now that it's sitting flat versus when I put it on one of these boxes and it's kind of caving in, you can see that that tender deck plate lines up evenly with the tender. And there's warning labels on the tender as well. Like I believe that red one says fire hose only, but I'm just looking through a little viewfinder. You have boiler backhead detail on the engine that's hard to see, and cab figures. So inside the cab, the windows are adjustable, so you can open and close the windows as desired. And you have silver caps where the bearing caps would be on all of the rear 2 wheels there on the under the cab, and all of the trucks for the tender. Tender also has water level markings on the back. It has rear class lights. Most importantly for this run, there's some antenna configuration differences, including the PTC antenna, which I'll show you from the top. And there's also an ice gate antenna on the cab roof. So zoom out, rotate around. You can see that PTC antenna is really nicely done. It's low profile, so the antennas aren't oversized or anything. I think it looks pretty good. Here you can see the 3 dynamos kind of poking out on the other side, and more of the same detail, but also some different variations in plumbing. So you got your ash pan wheel here, which I don't know if that would still be there. And I believe there's an ash pan. So now, from what I was told, I don't believe the Big Boys with oil burners had ash pans, but it looks like maybe they adjusted it, and it's not the full ash pan. It's adjusted for what, because something has to catch. So that's probably adjusted for what it's supposed to look like. I'd have to compare to prototype photos on that, but the full ash pans kind of come out and they have an edge, so I think that was adjusted for what it looks like today. And back to the front, you have your builder plate information, a lot more plumbing and handrails for crew to scour the very edge of that boiler jacket. You got your smoke box door in the front with all the latch detail. A pretty nice locomotive. Broadway's the best in steam from what I've seen and what people have voted in the past on the People's Choice Awards. Alright, this locomotive was just a splurge. It's the Big Boy 4014, all the details we talked about before, but in the American Freedom Train paint. I actually went to YouTube to look to see if anything was available so I could see whether I wanted to purchase this, because I know you guys do a lot of what I do, and you look at channels that are either mine or like mine to see if something's up your alley, and I couldn't find anything at the time. I don't know if there's anything different now, but I wanted to cover this for you, and I thought, what the heck, you know, it's very plausible that next year they could slap this paint scheme on the Big Boy. I'm not big into non-prototypical trains. I'll have more rolling stock than locomotives in that department, but you know, I've been collecting all the Freedom Train stuff, so I figured why not. So the difference, obviously, other than the paint scheme, isn't much, but you do have the white-walled wheels here going all the way down. 4014's on the side. You got the red, white, and blue along the boiler jacketing going down under the cab, continuing to the tender. And the tender, everything is the same as like the GS4 in terms of paint scheme, except for how it would be applied to the boiler jacketing, because that's going to obviously have to be different per type. But there is your Freedom Train version. So I thought you might like to see that. One of the very few non-prototypical locomotives that I have in my collection. So some stuff doesn't make it to the collection, or it gets shipped off to my other storage facility, but this is staying right here. Alright, I really wanted to zoom in on the PTC antenna detail so you can see that for yourself. Those antennas are perfectly scaled. They look good. And as we swing up here again, another ice skate antenna up top of the cab and your triple dynamos. That pretty much summarizes most, if not all, of the changes on this run. Alright, we don't do the extended startup much on this. Let me see if it's still available here. F9. Really nice there. Nice little realistic startup sequence. Here's the bell. Keep in mind you can change some of these bells and whistles. Here's the whistle. You see that smoking whistle kick in the back. Thought maybe blowing the smoke would help, but it didn't. For you to see that better. Got your puffing smoke. Coupler sounds on 3. We're just going to go over a few. Because we've covered this Big Boy many times. But there's several other functions. You've got pro lighting mode where you can individually control things as well, like front marker and the lights separate from number board marker lights, etc. You change direction, the number board and class lights stay on unless you go to pro lighting mode and mess with it. But pretty smooth runner as well. So as you can see, at slow speeds, got some dirty track I need to work on. I'm getting 4 chuffs per revolution. So yeah, just a nice running locomotive. So we're going to stop with features because I've got a lot of other stuff to show you, and we even skipped some stuff, and it's still going to be a long video. Here's a quick look at the Freedom Train. The class lights have more of a greenish or yellowish hue to them than white. Headlights still pure white, and so are the class lights, or so are the number boards. The reason I'm going by with the Freedom Train is so that you can see the scheme in action real quick. You heard me just speed up there. I was making sure the cab light still goes out after 3 speed steps, and it does. There's the Freedom train in action. Whistle. I'm gonna move up a little so you can see the whistle. Yeah, you can see the smoke cut in and off from the whistle now a little better. Alright, let's cover the DCC ready version real quick, and I'll show you what I did with the ESU Loc Sound decoder. Alright, ESU Loc Sound equipped, but I do want to not show too much bias towards ESU. That's just what I chose for this version. This actual model can have multiple 21-pin decoders installed from Soundtrax, Digitrax, ESU, TCS Wow Sound. I think there's an option to at least modify if they don't have one just ready to go. So there's options here. This is just an example of the ESU version. You're going to lose smoke unless you do some crazy DCC wizardry, and you also are going to lose class lights and headlights, but I think that's adjustable fairly easily. I just haven't done it. So ESU is F8 to start. So all you really hear is kind of like the steam sounds, maybe the dynamos a little bit, and then move it. You hear the air escaping from the cylinder cocks better off the start. Dynamo sounds good. Here's a bell. And whistle. So again, a lot of this can be handled in the ESU Loc programmer. You get headlight, cab light, which can be controlled through functions, and you have rear marker lights and tail lights that are illuminated. It's just those front marker lights and number boards that are going to have some adjusting in the Loc programmer, possibly on the board. I'm not sure. I haven't messed with it yet. Now, here's the thing. A lot of ESU scares a lot of people, but I have a Loc programmer that I haven't even touched, because you can order these decoders from certain retailers and they will put the file that you want on it. You just have to tell them which file it is. So I found the file number for the Big Boy and I put it on the order and they added it for free. So there you have it. There's the ESU version. Really good speed control on this as well. Well, that's going to wrap up our look at the Broadway Limited Paragon 4 Big Boy, the most recent excursion with PTC and the triple dynamo added, along with some other features that we covered. So I hope you enjoyed the quick look at these updated versions, and we'll leave you with a run by. So have a good day, and we'll see you next time right here on the channel. Take care.